Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and in this particular video, we're going to be bullshitting about some evil shit that's been patented by Activision in regards to matchmaking and microtransactions and all that other stuff you absolutely love that the industry has come to. Before we get to that, let's get the introductions out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
Okay, it came to light on the 18th of October, earlier last week, that a patent that Activision actually filed 2 years ago, back in 2015, was finally approved by the U.S. Patent Office. Now, this particular patent, it involves a system and method for driving microtransactions in multiplayer video games. Now, as you know, a lot of major game publishers are moving away from, you know, the finite linear single player experiences, and they're really starting to go ahead and push this games as a service. Basically, everything that they put out, they want to have a multiplayer aspect that they can go ahead and continually monetize and support, so they don't need to come out with a new game. They're just going to be playing the same old fucking game for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years altogether, and they're just going to continue, you know, taking money from you. Maybe a few pennies at a time, maybe a few dollars at a time, but they're going to keep on doing that for years and years and years. The reason why they're doing that is, unfortunately, the industry, the publishers have figured out, guess what? Unfortunately, us players, by and large, are sheep, and it fucking works, and we're willing to pay for that shit. So, Activision, according to them, they put out an exploratory patent back in 2015 where they were going to go ahead and patent a system to drive microtransactions, not only through like ad banners and databases and other things, but also using the matchmaking when you're playing multiplayer games. Okay? Before I get into the nitty-gritty details, guys, floor is open. Who has thoughts at this moment?
I'm already against microtransactions as it is. As far as nickeling, diming you for shit that's already, you know, the ad shit that's already in your possession. Because I remember the good old days where you got a game and shit was already there. And come on, man. Just, I don't even know if I should just be upset or just be like, we told you so, and still be upset. Because when you support garbage so much and then it becomes the norm, then it's too late. And as the Reverend alluded to earlier, they decided to do shit like this because many gamers are sheep. And they'll just throw their money at anything, talking about, well, this is the way it's going to be. Well, this is the future. You might as well do it now. No.
It's completely optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want. But if somebody doesn't, they make money off of it, they're going to go ahead and make it that way. But what about you, Grey Mouse? What are your 2 cents?
Oh, I'm only worth 2 cents?
Well, you know, I mean, it's colloquial speaking. What are your 2 yen on this, since you're in Japan?
I know. Anyway, it's the same thing, man. I told you so, or we told you so. And, you know, this whole thing with loot boxes and loot crates and loot whatever, you know, in games, I mean, they've been doing that, you know, a while back. And, you know, just like the theme was saying earlier, I mean, it's becoming a acceptable practice. Is unfortunately that, you know, in order to get that weapon that you wanted, you know, that you have to pay to get it. And then a lot of people are like, oh, it's just skins. But still, it's still a microtransaction. Still a microtransaction that you're charging. So instead of, you don't really realize it until it's too late. That, you know, the game costs $60, you know, and then on top of that, you're paying $60 for your Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or whatever. So on top of that, so you're already paying $120 there. But it's not fair to say that about the game, but the game you're paying $60, and then after all your transactions that you've been doing, you know, nickels and dimes here, you end up spending $200, $300 on a game like Destiny, for an example. You know, you really look at how many transactions you've done since you bought the game, it starts to add up really quick. You're like, whoa, I didn't realize I spent, you know, I paid the $60 for the game and I figured that was it. But you ended up paying an extra $200 on top of that, you know, just for microtransactions. It's just something that I guess is unfortunate part of the gaming industry nowadays. I mean, I don't blame it's a tough line, because I know publishers and developers want money. Got it. Understand that. You know, they're not getting the money that they get for developing, and you know, most of these games are $100 million games nowadays, you know, just in development alone. They're in sales, it's just not cutting it no more. So they're passing that off to us as gamers and as people that, you know, enjoy the game, and then, you know, that's willing to play, to pay that extra $20 for a weapon set or different skins. It's just the way it is nowadays.
One thing I want to say, and I'm going to add to what Grey Mouse just said, as far as the cost and adding on cost, and everything adds up. It's funny how you are spending as much as 4 games on the road as far as equaling what you will spend on consoles when everything is done complete.
Well, that's not even talking about. We're not even talking about expansions. You know, stuff that, like you said, expands the game. Now, I have no problem with, you know, extending the life of a game, but when the game comes out in day 1 or day 2, they're already pushing out, you know, passes and shit. Dude, let me finish the content first before you start shoving your hand in my wallet. Give me a second. Give me some breathing room here. So
no reach arounds. No reach arounds.
I find it very interesting that Activision, which no surprise to be honest with you, patented that type of charade, I guess is the word that I could use.
Charade.
Well, here's the thing. All right, let me throw in my 2 cents, and then we'll go into the details of this particular patent. Because when you go into the details of the patent and then you consider the psychology that's behind it, it's not just genius. It's genius to the point where it's evil. Okay, it really is. All right. The thing with microtransactions and everything else, I understand where they're coming from, but you know, where their place in the market really started out was a free-to-play market on mobile, where the applications were free. You can go ahead and you could just nickel and dime your way through progress or whatnot. And then sooner or later, it becomes eventually pay to win on that particular platform. Now, with this particular patent and the way that they're going ahead and they're setting things up, it really drives home, hey, look, one of the things that I've said before, we've all said about DLC, okay? There are pretty much 3 cardinal sins of DLC, all right? One of them that we always mention is that if you hide a patch and you make people pay for a patch or a fix and you call it DLC, that's bullshit, all right? If you hide a true ending, all right,
oh my God,
behind DLC, that's bullshit too. And the other thing that we consider evil is that if the DLC becomes all of a sudden, instead of just a microtransaction for something cosmetic or something, you know, trivial about the game, all of a sudden it becomes like a buff or like a set of weapons or something that's going to influence pay to win during multiplayer, that is definitely bullshit. All right, those are the types of things that we've always said on this particular channel. You know, look, if DLC is actual expansion of the game experience, or it's like nifty little tchotchkes and other things like that, you know, skins or ships or whatnot or things like that, then, you know, that's actual extra content, okay? But with this particular patent right here, okay, what Activision patented, No, they didn't patent microtransactions. That already exists. They didn't patent loot boxes. That already exists. DLC or any of that other stuff, that already exists. What they did patent was that there is a huge algorithm, okay, that they can sit there and easily implement, not only in future games, but also in existing games, a way to go ahead and drive microtransactions through the matchmaking within multiplayer, okay? What it will do is this, is that it takes account all of the user accounts that are on all of their multiplayer games, and it starts taking a database. It says, okay, XYZ players, these are the guys who sit there and buy stuff. These are the guys who don't buy anything. These are the guys who play all the time. These are the guys who only play occasionally, and all of that. Pretty much it starts farming as much information as possible, okay? And then what it does is that after it starts building a model based off of that information, let's say Grey Mouse is let's say he's a sniper when he plays like Destiny, okay? Let's say the theme is a marquee player who's like ranked in the top 10 on the leaderboards and everything else. He is also a sniper, all right? When it starts going through the matchmaking algorithm and everything else, it sees Grey Mouse, it sees the theme, all right? It shoves Grey Mouse into a match with the theme, all right? They're the same class. One is the marquee player who's all the way huge fucking difference in rankings, right? Where the theme will probably go ahead and he'll go through the match, you know, just murdering Grey Mouse all over the place, all right? Where Grey Mouse is going to get his ass kicked relentlessly by not just the theme, but a whole bunch of other marquee players. Now, within the game itself, within multiplayer, Grey Mouse can go ahead and he could click on the theme's profile, his in-game profile, and he could see, okay, so what's his loadout? Is there something that he has equipped within his gear and his perks and other shit that he can possibly buy through the game shop? You know, is there something there that makes a real fucking difference? Oh, he sees that the theme has a sniper rifle that, you know, does a shitload more damage, all right, and it has less recoil and everything else. You know, it's a really good rifle and everything, and it's something that he can't get, you know, very easily just by grinding through the game. When he comes back to the actual game lobby and within the lobby itself, or when he's waiting for matches, he'll see a ticker, basically shop ads, and they'll start advertising that fucking rifle. Okay? So after, let's say Grey Mouse doesn't decide to go ahead and buy it right off the bat, he'll continually be dumped into matches where he's getting his ass kicked by guys who are equipped with this fucking rifle. Okay? Pretty soon, Grey Mouse may get mad at it if he doesn't drop the game altogether. He goes, hey, look, the rifle's only like $1.99 or $5. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and get it. Let me see if it really makes a difference in my game. He buys the rifle, okay? After the system sees that he buys the rifle, what will happen is that the system, in order to reward Grey Mouse from buying that rifle, will then switch the roles. Grey Mouse will end up in a match or a map where that rifle gives him a huge fucking advantage against all these other low-tier players and characters, right, within the game. So Grey Mouse is now kicking the shit out of all these other people because he went ahead and he bought this brand new fucking weapon. In Grey Mouse's mind, he's being reinforced, hey, it was a good idea to buy this fucking rifle because all of a sudden I'm winning again. Okay? Yeah. And then the cycle starts new with all the people under Grey Mouse's, within those matches that Grey Mouse has been playing, they start looking at the shit that he has and starts thinking, okay, what happens? It goes like that until, you know, Grey Mouse starts moving up the ranks, and then all of a sudden, it'll invert it again where he's going to be matched up against somebody else with some new gear, all right, that he's going to have to fucking buy in order to go ahead and match up with it, and then it's going to switch, and it goes on and on and on. Basically, what happens is that within matchmaking, it makes all the players within the match a virtual pusher for each and every of the microtransaction items. And that's cost, what's evil about it. Yeah.
Free of cost.
Yeah.
It's like free advertising.
Yeah. Nobody's getting paid for it, all right? But you're all pushing the same fucking microtransaction from the same shop.
Let me interject here for a second, man. This is kind of a dangerous game that Activision is playing because it will end with me. Because if if Steam does that shit to me, like I get my ass kicked over and over and over and over again, I'm gonna stop playing. And I'm gonna look at like, wow, this guy has this weapon. How do I get this weapon? Oh, this weapon is off in the shop. Click, pull the disc out, and that's it. That's pay to win. I don't fucking play pay to win fucking games. That's another way that can discourage people from playing that game.
Although, however, that's one person out of
you're right.
Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people playing. All right.
You're right.
And the thing is that
people like me though.
Yeah, the thing is that when it comes to like the microtransactions and other stuff that's out there, folks, when it comes to any of this stuff that's out there, whether or not it be DLC or loot boxes or anything else, really what the publishers are looking for, if let's say a game sells 10 million copies, all right, they're not realistically looking at 10 million people buying all the loot boxes and buying all the gear in the store. What they do want is that maybe 10%, a million of those people are going to be habitually buying shit for a long, long time. Okay? And when you sit there and you take that percentage and you extend it out over time, that's a huge amount of revenue that the game sees, going into the future.
I got a question. Didn't Activision not brag, but put out their finances about that, like the last year or so, $3.1 billion worth of in-game store stuff? Was it Activision?
They weren't the only ones who did that.
Well,
they weren't the only ones who did that. Yeah.
I'm saying that just shows you. I mean, that's what those numbers are encouraging companies and publishers and developers to create shit like this. Is that you're giving them all your money and like, oh shit, look how much money we left on the table by just selling the game for $60.
Yeah.
I mean that's encouraging behavior like this. It's kind of like the same thing with the bell and the dog type thing. You ring the bell, get the dog a treat.
Yeah,
it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's a conditioned response. Okay, and they're also kind of tickling the psychological release of endorphins for people who like gambling or like getting reinforcement from like retail therapy and shopping and buying new things. All right,
people that have willpower.
So if you guys don't know that,
that may have been a stretch.
Even Nintendo does this. Nintendo, Microsoft, everybody, Sony does this. They have psychologists working in game and development. You're stupid if you don't think that companies have psychologists working.
Well, of course they're going to have to. It's part of business. You have to get into the human psyche in order to fucking.
Absolutely, and like Reverend was saying, that's
business 101, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's conditioning. It is. It's actually conditioning.
Now here's the flip side to it, though. All right, the flip side to this is that the only way that we can sit there realistically to sit there and change these practices and tell the industry that we don't want these practices to continue is simply to stop buying new games. All right. The microtransactions and the whole practice is so embedded in the majority of the new games that are out there. The only way that consumers can go ahead and tell the industry to stop doing this is by and large to stop buying new games. Okay, that's not going to happen.
No,
all right, just realistically, that's not going to happen. Now, if that was the case and things did change, if the publishers were going to go ahead and spread around, let's say, make the price of games realistic to the amount of R&D, development costs, and the amount of inflation that's happened over the last 20 years, all right, or over the last 30 years that games have been out. The question that I pose is, would you be willing to spend $90 on a game?
That's a very interesting question because, I mean, we've been spending $60 on a game for decades.
Actually,
it hasn't been that long.
Yeah, $60 has been...
How much were Super Nintendo games?
50.
Well, 50.
Well, actually, sometimes it depended on the actual game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I was...
Because remember, PlayStation games were less than Nintendo 64 games of the same name.
Correct.
So because of the cartridge.
Well, I mean, there are other cases like that. But, I mean, we are now anyway with all the microtransactions. I mean,
that's, you know, not to sit there and take the heat off of Activision, because like I said, from the outright, the scheme that they put together is it's genius and it's evil. All right, it is evil. The reason why they patented it is that, guess what? They put that patent out front and center so that if EA does this, if Ubisoft does this, or anybody else does this, they can go ahead and sue the fuck out of them. All right, for driving the same type of microtransactions through the same type of machinations. All right, and if you look at the actual patent, okay, I'll have a link below in the description. This shit is like, this thing is like, is just a wall of text, probably around 15 to 20 pages long. Okay, they have accounted for a lot of scenarios and very specific and some broad-reaching, you know, specifications as far as what they're actually patenting here. You know, it's
so wait. So
Go ahead.
can companies like Nintendo and EA and all those other guys do this behind the curtain? I mean,
they would have to be very sly in the way that they're implementing it. But if it turns out that, you know, Activision, if somebody, here's the thing, if any of the publishers actually do something like this, gamers and media will report on it, okay? Now, if Activision sits there and says, you know, hey, that's similar to ours, they're going to be breathing down their neck with the fucking lawsuit.
Well,
all right.
That was the thing that I was pointing at, was that how do we know that other companies have not already been doing this? And it's kind of interesting that it did take 2 years for this patent to get approved. I don't know what the normal time frame of a patent is. I don't know, but I just find it very interesting. I mean, it kind of feels like, and now that you look, you know, back on it, you know, it kind of feels like, you know, other companies have been doing this, you know, for a while now.
Yeah. Well, I know as far as it goes, a lot of the game systems have become a lot more intrusive as far as trying to push forward market transactions and shit like that.
Oh man, I didn't think about that aspect. Privacy.
And yeah, I mean, the publishers have become more bold. All right, as far as a lot of that stuff goes. But yeah, this right here, this goes really deep. Like it starts first by creating a user database where it tracks everybody's fucking gameplay habits and their shop habits when it comes to actually doing anything on the connected shops to whatever games that Activision has published. So they literally.
Information?
What's up?
Is that public information?
Well, it's stuff that's. No, it's not public information, but it's all transaction information that is being tracked by people who are just using games. It's like
the point that I'm making is that are they signaling me? Do they know this is me, or is it just a group of people that, oh well, you know what I mean? Or do they know it down to the personal level, as in this is great?
They'll know it down. They'll know it down to the player tag and the user ID.
I'm 100% against that. No.
Yeah.
No. You're not going to track me. You're not going to fucking Amazon me or eBay me. No. That's bullshit, man.
Yeah. No. And that's one thing that a lot of people who have brought this up haven't talked about, is that literally it builds a huge fucking database out of all of the players, okay? And it tracks all of their transactions, all of their gameplay, you know, whether or not they bought a certain thing at a certain time and everything else, and it's all part of the algorithm, so that the next game that comes out or the next time that you play, the game will push things in a certain way that'll make it more likely for you to go ahead and buy. All right?
That would be the only way it would work.
Yeah.
Like
and here's
personal information.
And here's the scary thing, all right? They say that it's just an exploratory patent, that none of the games that are out right now implement things like this. Now, as a QA guy, I can sit there and say from the games that I've seen come out from Activision and everything else so far, yeah, that's probably true. However, this particular component that they patented and everything else, since it runs off of a service that is connected to their marketplace, they can literally go ahead and implement this on all of the fucking multiplayer games that they have out, connected on all the platforms within a week, possibly.
Shit that already you have and that already exists, they can absolutely put that.
They can add this to shit that already exists.
Exactly. If it says downloadable content on it, thank God my rating 5 doesn't say that on there. But if it says downloadable content, bam. It basically is just a system update and a game update, and bam, that shit is there.
Let's go ahead and try to wrap this one up. What are your final thoughts on this? I know, like I said, I know this is evil, and I don't support this at all. But there's another end to this that I'm going to get to, but I'd rather let you guys go ahead and give your final thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support anything like that either. I mean, as you guys already explained it earlier as to why. It's just that, okay, look, you're going to be basically looking at the shit that basically it's tracking me. It's tracking me as a fucking gamer. And I'm like, no. And it's funny how that shouldn't really be possible to do with certain gamers, but let's say someone only plays a certain type of genre. You know, there are gamers like that. There are gamers that don't branch out into specific genres. They'll only play like maybe 1, 2, 3 genres, and those are the ones that are going to get hit the hardest with certain games. It's just simple as that. Yep. But see, now this is only one company that's going to be starting to do this, and it's basically going to be locked down with this company because it's going to be a patent for this specific company. So that's the only saving grace, that this is not going to be implemented through the whole industry as a whole as far as this patent. But as you said, Reverend, other companies can maybe tiptoe around the patent.
No, they can. No, here's the thing. They can sit there. Here's the evil part about what Activision did. Okay, is that they went ahead and they put this on patent. Here's the thing about a patent. All right. Oh, hey, how are you guys over there at EA doing? Guess what? We'll allow you to use our technology. You just have to go ahead and give us like 2% or whatever the fucking game that you went ahead and you put it in. Yeah. All right. So this can easily be used by other companies if they decide to pony up the cash.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. And as I said at the beginning, the only way you're going to stop you support shit like this, it becomes the norm, and then it's too late.
What about you, Graham? How's final thoughts on this?
Yeah, my final thoughts pretty much echo everybody already. Everything that's already been said. With the tracking thing, we've been tracked as gamers for a while now. Ever since the achievements came out with Xbox and trophies with PlayStation Network. Don't think you're not being tracked. It's happening. So I understand that. And I guess it's an untapped gold mine for companies that have not thought that through, except for Activision now, that why don't we look at, people's tendencies, buying tendencies, and use that to our advantage and get people to buy more. And that's pretty much what the bottom line is, is that they're tapping into an untapped gold mine, and nobody thought of it up until now, or put it to paper, pen to paper for that matter. But yeah, I don't. It's not going to be isolated to one Activision, Blizzard. It's not going to. No. It's going to be within. It's going to go all over the place because people are going to see like, wow, that was a great idea. I mean, how many times have other companies borrowed from somebody else? Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony. I mean, look, I'm just saying. So it's going to happen. And it's this is the gaming world that we live in now, unfortunately. And just like the Reverend alluded to earlier, was that, or not alluded, told you, was that, people are not going to stop people are not going to stop buying games. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you know, this here, like I said, is genius and it's evil. The problem with anything that's, you know, criminals can be smart too. All right, let me just put that right now, okay? Really successful criminals are very smart. And the thing about this is that this isn't illegal, all right? But the way that it's leveraging, you know, human behavior and gamers want to be good and to win, it's very exploitive, all right? It's exploiting, you know, emotional hot buttons on people who want to go ahead and even entertain the thought of doing the whole microtransaction thing. And like I said, unfortunately, unless everybody decides that they don't want to go ahead and all gamers all over the place decide that they don't want to buy any fucking games, any brand new games at all, this shit is not going to stop. So, but even if it did stop, that's the interesting thing is that, like I said, you know, as somebody who works for a major publisher, all right, you know, I also want developers and publishers to get paid, okay, especially if they actually do put out good stuff that's creative and everything else. You know, the one thing that a lot of gamers have to ask themselves, let's say, if none of this shit exists, none of the microtransaction DLC stuff exists within, you know, the AAA gaming console space or within the AAA gaming space or the major publishing space, is are we going to be willing to spend more than that $60, that $59.99 MSRP?
If the game is free, if the game is going to last for years, you'd be surprised.
You know, generally speaking, as far as it goes, if it means that I own something outright and it's a good quality product, I wouldn't mind so much. That actually bothers me less than somebody sitting there saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to milk you for $5 every month for this."
Well, you know what's interesting too is what's the difference between paying $80 a game MSRP than paying for the Legendary Edition of something or the Collector's Edition of something? I mean, people are doing that already. So,
well,
to answer the question, yeah, I think people would be willing. I'm not speaking for anybody. You know, I'm speaking for myself, but I think people would be would entertain. I'll say this: entertain paying $80 to $90 for a good, complete game that, you know, that I know that's all there. There's no hidden costs. You know what I mean?
I think some people would, but I don't know. I'm not sure if the majority of gamers would, in order to sit there and make that sort of shift within the industry. That'll make practices like what Activision is trying to put together, and practices like what the majority of AAA publishers are doing right now, a thing of the past. Unfortunately, this is something that I think a lot of gamers are going to have to sit there and trudge through, and they're going to have to be really picky with their money. And as adults, you know, I think that's the only reasonable thing I could ask for. Although, really, there is a side of me that says all that microtransaction bullshit, pay-to-win bullshit, fuck that, get good. Practice.
See, I was going to allude to that when we're done. I was like, whatever happened to getting better, practicing, being good at the game?
Well, see, the thing is, though, to counterbalance that is that if I have a gun that has 50 damage on it, and you have a gun that has 90 damage on it, it's not about get good. It's about that he has more power.
There should not be an imbalance of that in the first place.
Well, it's going to happen, and it is happening.
Yeah, and that's something else that we could probably go ahead and address in another video. But what we really want to know, folks, with this particular one is that, what do you think about the state of gaming and also the fact that Activision went ahead and came out with this patent? We want to know. Like I said, in the description, there's going to be a link to it. If you want to go ahead and read the whole thing, feel free to. All right. You can go ahead and let us know your thoughts by leaving us a comment below. If you're so kind and if you like this video, we would appreciate the like. And if you're new around here, you want to stick around to see, you know, what we put out or any other new videos or anything like that, I do advise you to go ahead and tap on that subscribe or click on that subscribe, turn on those notifications, and you'll know whenever we go ahead and put out brand new videos like this one. With that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to end this particular one here. All this bullshit about Activision doing a brand new patent, turning everybody into virtual drug pushers. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. All right. Ends right here. I'm the Reverend.
Being here.
Yeah, I'm Gray Mouse One.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and thievery. Gaming. Yeah, evil patents and all that shit. Damn it. No. Credits.
Get good, man. As the model would say.
Right.